Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of Unpacking Software from Chocolatey Software. On the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. UTC, or 4 p.m. UTC as it is now, we will be live chatting about the latest news and opinion on the world of software, focusing on packaging, software deployment, and lifecycle management. We have another live stream on the first Thursday of each month called Product Spotlight. And this is where we spotlight Chocolatey products, discuss releases, highlight features, and walk through tutorials and demos. To ensure that you're notified of all the great content from Chocolatey Software, ensure you join our community hub on Discord, subscribe to us on YouTube, or follow us on Twitter or X, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Twitch. You can find all of those links on our homepage, chocolatey.org. Just scroll all the way to the bottom and you'll find them there, or in the description of where you found this content. We want to make sure we hear from you about the content that we are producing. Is it what you want to hear and see? Do you have any ideas of what you'd like to see? Have your say at ch0.co/stream survey. That's ch0.co/stream survey, all one word. We'll pop that link up onto the screen shortly. My name is Paul Broadwith, and I'm the Technical Engineering Manager here at Chocolatey Software. And today I'm joined by Gary Ewan Park and Stephen Valdinger. And I'm just going to bring them on now. Gary, your screen went black there. You worried me. Don't do that. That gives me
all right, Paul.
concerns.
I'm here.
Cool. Gary, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure, yes. My name is Gary Ewan Park. I am a principal software engineer here at Chocolatey. I work remotely from my garage in Scotland, and I have been doing that for a good number of years now. And I am working on all the different parts of Chocolatey, not just Chocolatey CLI.
Cool. Thanks, Gary. Stevie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Stephen Valdinger, Customer Solutions Manager here at Chocolatey, and I fix all of our customers' problems along with the rest of my team. I also implement solutions for them as well, along with my team when they have interesting projects that they want us to do. So it's a lot of fun. Really enjoy it.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Stevie. So today we've got a few news items we're going to look at. A number of package-related items, which is quite interesting. It's, the last couple of episodes, there hasn't been so much of that, but we've certainly found a couple of it have come up in the last month. But the first one I want to talk about is JetBrains. We talked about that in previous episodes, where JetBrains and Rapid7 had a bit of a falling out, let's say, over a release that JetBrains had done. You can go back in, I think it was episode 1 or 2. I'm not really sure when we picked it up, but you can have a look at the blog post and you'll find the link. You'll find the episode. You can go and read about that and listen to it. But anyway, so apparently they have released another fix for 26 security problems. And the security bulletin that they released later on had 7 CVEs in there. But there's another bit of a problem in that they released the fixes, but with no information initially. And it's all, I think, really to do with this Rapid7 spat. Gary, did you have anything to say? Because, we talked about this before, and I think that you had a few comments on this.
It's a hard one. I mean, I guess it's the age old thing. I can see both sides, right? And it depends. It's the kind of token answer. I think I can understand where JetBrains is coming from. So JetBrains have identified a 26 problems in their Team City software. They want to get that out to their customers and people that are using it without putting their customers at risk by telling it the whole world about what the problems are. So I think I get that. I can understand that, and I actually appreciate that. Now I know our ops people. I think it was mentioned last time that we used Team City, but our ops team were on the ball and got our systems updated without a problem. But other people in the Rapid7 issue were left in a pickle because people took over their systems and they had ransomware attacks going in and all sorts of stuff. So that came about because the information about how to exploit the things was released before the patch was. So I think I'm with JetBrains on this one. To be honest, I don't think they're trying to be secretive. They are giving the full information at a point in time where they think it's appropriate. Now, is that 2 or 3 days after the fix has gone out? I think I'm okay with that. That's just me, though. I'm not an ops person. I don't understand ops, but that's how I see the world.
Well, to just give some more information on those dates, I'm just reading there that they released the patch and there's the release notes on the 27th of March, and I couldn't find out when exactly the security bullet went out detailing the issues, but the Wayback Machine had it catalogued on the 2nd of April. So sometime between the 27th of March and the 2nd of April, which is what, 5-6 days,
Yeah.
they had released the security bullet. I kind of feel that might be reasonable. Stevie, have you got any thoughts on that?
I'm gonna side with JetBrains on this one. I really agree that putting the instruction manual out before the patch was released was a mistake. And they had customers impacted, like that. There's proof that, hey, this was a bad move. We've got customers that are impacted by that decision. So them keeping these 26 things close to or closer to the cuff, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
If I was in their position, I absolutely would.
I thought
Yeah,
it was an interesting addition that they've made, though, to Team City, where it will pre-download
yeah,
new updates that are coming through. It doesn't install it.
yeah,
An ops person still has to come along and push a button to say do the install, but it's just one less thing you have to wait for. So the download of that thing's already been done, so you can just hit go. I thought that was
yeah,
a nice improvement, and it makes sense. So
yeah. That functionality came out of the back on the back of the last round of CVs
yeah.
that came out that started this whole kerfuffle with Rapid7 and all of that. So yeah, that's a welcome change for sure.
I think I'd kind of agree. This is the thing: if you depending what you read, you've got security professionals saying, "No, you must tell people exactly what it is," and then you've got people who work in the software arena and say, "Well, then, as you mentioned, Stevie, you're giving people the instruction manual on how
Yeah,
to actually exploit these things." And from an operations perspective, where I spent a lot of my career, just because a release has been made doesn't mean you can update immediately. There are all sorts of
yeah,
complex systems out there and pipelines and all these things. You just can't immediately
yeah,
push a button and everything goes well. You got to test. You got to make sure you can potentially get a change board approval. Maybe it's emergency or whatever. There's just lots and lots of red tape and hoops to jump through in some
yeah,
organizations because of this. So you can't just install a patch and then hopefully Rapid7's release of the instruction manual comes out after you've installed that patch and you're all great. I haven't dug into it too deeply, but I don't know how Rapid7 has come off in this with regards to the attention that they've
yeah,
got. Potentially, it's damaged the trust that Rapid7 may well have. I'm not saying it has. I haven't dug into it, but that's a potential problem there. As a security vendor, their whole business is built on trust, and doing something like this, especially when we talked about last time, it sounded very much like they were unhappy with the way that JetBrains done it, so just did it anyway in case JetBrains was stealing their thunder. I think that was what's said in one
yeah,
article. So I don't know. I don't know there, but I kind
yeah,
of I agree that I think JetBrains did, and they stuck to their guns. They done it. What they did last time, they did it again now. So they're saying this is the way we're doing things. We appreciate you don't like it, but this is
Yeah.
it, and this is the
I
reason.
think that, yeah, exactly. They have a
yeah,
process and they're following their process, and they've done it
yeah.
the same way that in both of these incidents. So can't fault them for that.
Yep. And they've probably done it this way for a long time and it's gone unnoticed. There's just added scrutiny now because of what happened last
Mm,
time. Like, because we all know that there are literally bots that sit around and look at GitHub repositories that scan for this stuff. And as soon as something comes out, it's garbled up. Like,
yeah,
it's out there. It's published. There's stuff on it. So keeping it really, really tight-lipped and close to the cuff, it's kind of a smarter play in my opinion.
No, I agree. I agree. They have not kept anybody in the dark. They just
No.
haven't published the deep details until
Yeah.
later on. Giving
Exactly.
people 5-6 days to patch their systems, I think, is
Exactly.
perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
do.
Time for a cab, all those things. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
because you might have really, really busy build infrastructure, right? Like
hmm
there might not be a great time for you to patch like right away. You've got builds running.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Maybe you
maintenance
could, but
windows could be hard to come by.
yeah, no, I agree. So hopefully that spat that Rapid7 and JetBrains had can disappear into the
Yeah. I
ether,
think
and
it'll
both can maybe take some lessons from it.
yeah, I think
Would be
it'll
the
get better.
yeah. No, I agree. Um, okay, let's move on. The other couple issues I mentioned at the beginning. Actually, while I'm remembering, I'm just going to put the live stream feedback link onto the screen there. You'll see it. If you're listening to us on a podcast, we'll have that in the description. But please give us feedback if you let us know what you like format wise, or you don't like format wise, or content that you would like to see, or maybe the length. We're going to talk a little bit about the length of content later on, but any feedback is appreciated. It only takes 10 seconds. I think there's one mandatory button, and that's rate the actual stream itself or the podcast, and then give us some information is optional. So you're literally taking 10 seconds, and we really do appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning, there was a couple of package-related issues this month. Um, we're going to talk about Python for the first two, I think. But there was over 170,000 users caught up in poisoned package ruse. This was an article from the Register that I found really interesting. And it's to do with top.gg. They are a they host they work with Discord bots. So I think that they provide a library, a Python SDK to allow you to work with Discord. They also do other SDKs, but we're concentrating on the Python one just now. And they had malware basically in the SDK that they provide. One of the maintainers had been compromised. One of the devs had been compromised, and some commits were made that introduced this malware. Now that's been reversed now, but it seems to be that 2FA would have prevented this. Just again, reading we'll provide the details for this, but reading between the lines, there's a GitHub issue, there's some Discord comments, there's an explanation from the dev, but it sounded like 2FA would have prevented this. So, 2FA, all your things there. That just I'm thinking that today we just need to do, especially when you're a dev on an SDK like that. But Gary, being a developer, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, yeah. I mean, from my point of view, it's 2FA all the things. It is taking ownership and signing your Git commits so that you kind of know that it's you. So there's both GitHub and GitLab have, and probably the other hosting services as well. They allow you to use a GPG key or an SSH key to sign your Git commits, and people can know who you are. So there's that side to it. And 2FA, all the things. I think we've enabled a requirement of 2FA on all of our organizations now that we have on GitHub. It's just par for the course now. It's kind of expected. And I would be reluctant to put my name to something if those kind of features or fallbacks weren't in place. But this particular one, I mean, it reading through this article, it just struck me how much time and effort and building blocks go into this sort of thing, because they had to pre-register a domain, they let it sit there for a little bit, and then they slipped in the usage of that domain, which looked really close to the other ones that the standard user was using. It was just very, very clever, very, very scary. And yeah, just it's sad that it comes to this, but I mean, in this sort of scenario, you're always on the losing side, because they only have to win once, and you have to win. What is it they say? You have to defenders have to win all the time when the attackers only have to win once. Whatever the analogy is,
Yeah.
it's keeping up with all these things and the different scenarios that you can get yourself into. It's a scary world that we live in. At the end of the day, it really is.
Yes. Stevie, do you like living in this scary world?
Not particularly, but this kind of highlights some things that are going on in the industry right now, particularly around software bill of materials, SBOMs, and things like that, and supply chain vulnerabilities and security and all this stuff, and maintaining that trust
Mm,
with all of your dependencies and things like that. So I think this is really pertinent to that conversation as well. You've got major players in the software delivery industry like Artifactory and Sonatype and Cloudsmith. Cloudsmith and Sonatype just recently started to do a lot more with SBOM type stuff. Sonatype just released a whole new SBOM manager product, in fact,
mm,
and Cloudsmith has had one, I think, for a little while now. But they allow you to do those sorts of things where you're shipping SBOMs with your artifacts, with those packages that you produce,
mm,
and then adding further layers to things, being able to sign those packages, etc., etc. That's just another layer of trust that you can provide. But with an attack like this Python thing, that was well before any of that would have happened. Like,
mm,
that was packaged up. It would have been included. It would have been signed. It would have been part of that SBOM. Like, you can't really fix that. So it's still a
mm,
problem, but it does highlight the need for test every little thing. You know, add some unit tests around all the URLs that you're expecting to use and only ship those known good URLs.
mm,
Like, there's all these tiny little things that, again, to Gary's point, the, we have to be on the defense all the freaking time, and attackers only need to win once. We have to think of that stuff all
mm,
the freaking time, because attackers are. They're like, oh, I bet they're not testing for this. Let's go after it. And sure enough, they're not. And
The
they get
atta-
it in. So it's a huge problem.
yeah,
Anybody who
the,
says software development is easy is wrong.
the attackers are also relentless.
yes.
They will just keep, if this doesn't work, they'll try another, and it'll only be a slight deviation, then another slight deviation. They'll just keep trying because you can automate all of this today. We've got AI that can look at some of this and give better examples and try things, and the world is a scary place, and it feels like the foot is slowly moving over to the attacker's side. Now, it's a bit like a pendulum, I think. It never
Mm,
really sits in the middle. It's always one side or the other. And I think at the moment, just judging by the amount that is going on, attackers are getting the upper hand. But, it will be a case where it'll swing back the other way, and um, the defenders will get the upper hand for a bit as well.
Sure.
But it is a scary world. Just to finish off there, that I've just looked at it, if anybody's interested. The malware infected packages were distributed between 19th of February and the 3rd of March. So if you use that SDK between those dates, then you potentially will have a problem. The other thing is that the compromised developer, however the explanation was, and people did accept it in the GitHub issue that I was looking at, he did step down and is no longer part of
saw that.
the organization. So that's kind of cost him. I'm sure it wasn't a paid job. I'm sure it was something he just helped to contribute to, but still, it's cost him that part of what he was interested in and what he was working on. So, 2FA, all your things, kids. That's basically, I think, the lesson
Mm-hmm.
from that one. And again, sticking with PyPy, they suspended new user registrations to block a malware campaign. This is the second time this has happened. It happened last year at roughly the same time. I think it was March last year. This happened. So they suspended new registrations after packages were being uploaded with names to mimic legitimate products. So projects, sorry. Very, very similar naming, and people just need to typo something, and off they go, and they're getting some sort of malware infected package being downloaded and used within the product, within their project, whatever it is. It was a total of 500 packages and accounts that apparently they were each new maintainer was only uploading one package. So that again, that's if you had 500 projects suddenly being uploaded by one maintainer, that hopefully flags some problems. But they're now saying, well, let's just do 500 accounts and then we'll do one package each. And that's not going to flag anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was encrypted code in the projects that downloaded a payload from server, and when it was used, it stole passwords and cookies and crypto extensions from web browsers. So a big problem, I think. Gary, somebody who works on the Chocolatey community repository a lot on the kind of package moderation services side. I mean, how is Chocolatey covered for that?
I mean, Chocolatey does it, or Chocolatey as an ecosystem, we try our very best to limit the exposure to this type of thing. So the Chocolatey community repository, it wouldn't allow an influx of 500 packages, because if a new user comes along and creates an account, they would only ever be able to push one package version for each package that they're trying to push. They wouldn't be able to flood it with hundreds of package versions. And we do that specifically for a reason, to prevent um, things like this. We want to know that that new maintainer coming along is doing things right. There's a human interaction. It goes through, well, a package goes through all of the automated package moderation services, but there's a human element to it as well, where we can provide guidance and suggestions on how a package is being created. And I've said this before, but package moderation on the Chocolatey community repository, which Paul's just linked to as a blog post, or in our Back to Basics series about what the Chocolatey community repository is. You can go and have a look at that. I've said this before. Package moderation is the best thing about the Chocolatey community repository, and it's also the worst thing about the Chocolatey community repository, because we have that human element, because we have that due diligence of making sure that packages are up to a certain level and not trying to do something malicious. Then sometimes the package moderation queue gets long and the packages take a while to get moderated. But I still, to this day, I still feel that that's better than potentially letting a malicious package through from a malicious maintainer. So yeah, I feel for the PyPy community, I really do. And having to do this again, it's one of these things that it's a community-driven effort. They're trying to do the good stuff for everyone in the community, and then malicious actors come along and do naughty words all over it. So I won't say the naughty words. But yeah, it's again, it's a horrible situation. We live in this world where people take advantage of all these things. So yeah, I feel for them. I really do.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, Stevie, any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, again, we have a really robust package moderation services, but still trust but verify those things.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to consume something, especially a Chocolatey package that under the hood executes PowerShell code, read the script. It's all there. Like we provide all the code that package is going to run on the page for that package. So you have the ability to go in there and read it for yourself. Hey, when I execute this package, this is what's going to happen. We've never had an instance that I know of malicious stuff landing like this PyPy thing on our community repository, but there's not to say it ever couldn't. Because again, there's a human element to what we do here, and humans are inherently fallible. So one of us that moderates packages could make a mistake someday and let something slip through that probably shouldn't have. But yeah, as with everything, trust but verify. Like put your tinfoil hat on. There's
No,
no SLAs or guarantees with a package on the community repository.
no. But a good point there is that the scripts are not only viewable on the package page. If you run Chocolatey CLI, it will ask you to, if you want to run the script, and you can view it in the console as well before you run it.
Yeah.
So that is an option. You can turn that off and it will automatically do it. But if you haven't done that, then you still get that option. But yeah, always look at what you're running and see it. And the PowerShell in the vast majority of packages is fairly straightforward.
Yeah,
It's not. You've got some complicated packages like the Java one, and there's reasons for that. But most
sure.
packages are fairly
Yeah,
fairly
the
straightforward.
Adobe Reader one's
That is
fairly
quite.
complicated as well,
Yeah,
just because of
I
what it's
maintain that
doing
one.
and things. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, don't look at the Java one if you not want to have PowerShell nightmares. Um, okay, moving on to the next one. Then this is our third in our package issues of the month. Maybe we should have some sort of banner that says package issues of the month. This one is about AI hallucinating software package names and devs downloading them and or putting them into their projects. So a little bit similar to the other one, but this is more. This is a little. It's not tongue in cheek. It's funny, but it's not funny good.
Yeah.
This is obviously a problem. But so a security researcher actually started asking AI chatbots about various developer related questions, and it was returning packages that could solve those problems. And those package names tended to be not correct and were made up. So the questions were kind of asked in different ways, and this researcher tried to get the the package names that are being repeated most frequently, and then created some packages to match those names so that they could determine if people were actually using these sorts of chatbots to get packages that they've made up, and actually add them into their projects. And yes, they did. 15,000 downloads of one particular package that they created called Hugging Face CLI. Alibaba actually used it in their project, or one of their projects, and actually provided instructions on how to install it. So, yeah, the actual package that should have been suggested was Hugging Face underscore hub, but the AI suggested Hugging Face CLI. There was many questions and many packages. This the article that we're going to link to is talking about this one in particular, but I have no words of why you would trust AI. I just don't know why. Yeah, AI is not. It's not. AI is not artificial intelligence. It's a language model that's queried, and so
Yeah.
it's been given information by, as you mentioned, Stevie, us flawed humans, and then we're expecting it to produce some sort of intelligible results, which is
Mhm.
clearly not in all cases. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Stevie?
So I don't use AI
Without
to
swear
write
words.
code. Yeah, yeah. I'll try real hard. I don't use the AI to write code. I just don't. I don't trust it to write code. Um, now I will say that I'll use it to like figure out like a concept for code, but I won't just blindly copy and paste what it gives me into a script and then run it. I'll cherry pick stuff out of a piece of code that it gives me or whatever. But the vast majority of my AI use is wordsmithing things that I want to like make into a blog post or
Hmm.
put as something to do with a product that we're working on or whatever. Like I use it to make me write more gooder because I'm not very good at it on my own sometimes. Um, but yeah, the whole code thing, those language models are ingesting code from all over the place, from GitHub, wherever they can publicly get at the code, right? They ingest that code. And let's face it, as a developer myself, I don't write good code. So somebody else that wants to use it, good luck. I just I don't know. It's not there yet. It's not
Yeah.
there yet. I think we've got a long way to go before we get to the level of panic that people are at with AI taking jobs and things like that. It's not going to happen for a while.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree with you. I think Corey, just to sum up, it's not a tool that's replacing another, but a tool to complement the other. Um, Gary, do
Mm.
you use AI for your? I've seen your code, so I
So
know that you use. In fact, you don't do any work; you just purely use AI. So
So I don't actually. I've toyed with it. I know what it is. I know what it can do, but I don't personally use it. Mainly because the main reason for that is because some of the code I work with is in private repositories and there's IP associated with it. So I've never wanted
Right.
to quote unquote trust some of these AI systems to not take that code and use it elsewhere. So I've kind of made a stance to say that I'm not going to use it and not get into the habit of using it. But the main thing from all of this, so the thing that I take away from this is not necessarily the AI and the large language models, because that's a whole discussion that we can get into, and there's going to be both sides on all of it. The thing that really got me is that there was a really clever, and by clever I mean evil dude out there who saw there's a potential exploit in this system by it hallucinating a package name, him then going off and making that package a thing so that it would start using it and people would start using it. That's the level of a low level sneaky stuff that we have to contend with, and the jobs that we have are up against people who think like this. I personally would never have thought of that as as an attack vector, but someone did. And that, again, I go back to the scary world that we live in. We should all just become farmers or something and do away with all this
Hermits in the
technology stuff.
woods.
Just go back,
Hermits in the
yeah.
woods, man. Yeah,
Let's just turn them all off and
yeah,
just go and farm the land and be done with it.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a very interesting article to read. Scary, evil dude doing stuff that just highlights
It's
potential
incredibly clever.
future attack
Let's be
vectors.
honest. At the end of the day, it's freaking clever
Yeah, agreed.
what they did. Like,
Yeah.
like it's awesome. Now, if
We're,
only we could do that with like lottery numbers or something. I mean,
something useful. We're not allowed to
yeah,
call them evil dudes anymore, Gary. They're called security researchers.
Security researchers, that's the one.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
that's
that
the
evil
word
dude
for
over
it.
there in the corner. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Yeah. So,
But yeah, I don't do so much code these days. But I don't use any of the AI to generate code. Whenever I have done, because there's a lot of people, especially at the beginning, were saying, "Oh, it's done this, it's great with code," and so I tried, and everything that produced was wrong. So it was actually costing me more time to keep asking it to refine things
yeah,
and saying things were wrong than actually just looking up for myself.
yeah,
So I just stopped using it.
yeah. I had a conversation with some folks at PowerShell Summit last week in Bellevue about that very thing. It's like, yeah, AI can get you 80% of the way there towards something, but that last 20% is going to cost you how much time?
hmm.
Like, it could take you in a direction that you really know nothing about, and that 20% is so much time compared to just organically figuring out things on your own, through
Yeah.
more traditional methods like Google and Stack Overflow.
Something that we forgot to bring up. That Unsolacate, hopefully I've pronounced that wrong, in chat mentioned was there was issues with Snapcraft packages as well, malicious packages, and the solution, or part of the solution there, was they absolutely need human moderation there. I remember reading about that. I use Linux a lot. I'm not a Snap, I can't even say it. Why would I use it? Snapcraft user, but I remember reading about this and the problems they were having. We didn't include that. That was my bad. But yeah, another example of, a place where packages are a repository, or a place that packages are being stored, and the issues that they were having. And Corey also mentioned you can tell how long someone has been in technology by how much they just want to leave society for a cabin in the woods. So,
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I've got
Okay.
mine picked out. I'm ready to go. Just tell me when I can go, Paul. I've got it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
In about 10 minutes, Gary, probably 15
Yes.
minutes, you can go. That's fine. Okay, so we've got some security news, which we're going to go through kind of fairly quickly. Putty has vulnerabilities in versions below 0.80. So if you've ever used Putty for your keys, if you ever used Putty and used it with any keys, that private key could be compromised, could be recovered in certain circumstances. So again, we'll provide the details for that. We're kind of running through it a little bit quickly, but yeah, it's not just keys that it's generated, it's keys that it has used. So that might be lots and lots and lots of people. Well, the next one I want to kind of pick up with both of you just to see what your thoughts are. But this headline's a little bit misleading, but it's correct. It depends where you sit on the fence. Microsoft is silently installing Copilot onto Windows Server 2022. Now, they're not actually installing Copilot. It seems to be some sort of stub for Copilot they're installing it, and it also looks to be a mistake with the link that we'll provide in the description. It does say it will be removed from devices where Microsoft Copilot is not intended to be enabled or installed. This includes most Windows Server devices. What does most mean? I would imagine it would be all set. Why do you need Copilot on a server? Stevie, what you were kind of looking at this earlier
I
when it
didn't
kind of
believe
came
it
up.
at first.
No, me
I
neither.
didn't believe it, and I was looking in the wrong place. Like, this is an AppX package, so it doesn't show up in traditional programs and features. So when it was initially brought to my attention, I'm like, no, it's not here. My box is fully patched, and I checked for Windows updates again when I actually got a Defender antivirus definition update at that point. But yeah, it wasn't there. But if you go to like the new modern settings apps thingy, it's there.
That's actually what it's
It
called,
did show.
Stevie.
Yeah, yeah,
The
that's
modern Windows app settings thingy that's
yeah.
the name of it.
I
So
thought I had it right. I thought I had it right. But yeah, I was floored. I'm like, why? So I was actually relieved to hear that it was a boo boo, which kind of sucks for other reasons, but it's because it seems like Microsoft is treating everybody as their greenfield for testing updates, but that's a whole another conversation in and of
that's
itself.
that's a special episode. We'll talk about that. But yeah, it does look like it's an update, but we did prove it. So we're not just reading this and we're taking the headline as gospel. We actually, two or three of us, did actually go in and prove
Yeah,
this. Not me. I ended up not doing it, but
yeah.
a couple
I've
of the
got the
team did.
screenshots to prove it.
Yeah. I says James as well managed to get
Yeah.
it, and I think Corey might have done as well. So a number of the team had managed to prove this out. Gary, what are your thoughts on AI in Windows Server 2022?
I mean, I think in this particular instance, I think you called it right. I think this was a mistake. It wasn't necessarily malicious act. They weren't intending to do this. It was done by mistake. But it does open up the larger question: is that Windows Update Service is for performing updates by default, and that's what you want it to do. But this is more feeling like it's trying to deploy some sort of new feature. To me,
Yeah.
that's an opt-in. That needs to be given the go-ahead, the green light by system administrator on the machine. Just having that appear and start doing stuff unbeknownst to people, that feels wrong, and needs to be. Yeah, that sort of stuff can't happen because I wouldn't expect that sort of thing to come necessarily through my Windows Update Service. But
Yeah.
again, it's maybe just my take on it.
I think it came as part of a Microsoft Edge update, was it? Was it not? They upgraded
But then
Microsoft
that
Edge
steps into, well,
and did it, but
yes, it's an Edge update, but what's that got to do with Copilot?
exactly.
And
Oh yeah,
it's
I
yeah,
100% agree. But yeah, it was an update to Edge is the entry point for
yeah.
it.
That's another special episode with called Browsers on Windows Server and why you shouldn't use them.
Yeah.
But I know
Yeah.
Edge has a lot of
Yeah.
components in the background. It's not
Yes.
Edge is not just the browser, but still, like I think all the points for that. I think more importantly, the Windows Update service, we're expecting it to deploy patches, fix things, security holes being plugged. We're not expecting AI features to be deployed to a system, whether that's a server or personally
Yeah.
whether it's a client machine. That for me is opt-in, as you said, Gary. That's not an opt-out feature, and I don't think the Windows Update service should ever be used for something like that. But again, who am I? Okay, so that's the kind of security news, and we're over time a little bit, and that's something I'm going to come to at the end. We're going to have a quick chat about. I just want to talk a little bit about Patch Tuesday, which is traditionally the second Tuesday of each month. There's not a lot this month. We're probably going to not continue to have this section in the stream and the podcast because there's not really a lot to talk about. We always get to the end and kind of rush through it. So, and there's plenty of other resources you can get it from. So, but Microsoft has patched 157 vulnerabilities this Patch Tuesday, including 149 CVEs. That may be normal, I'll be honest, 149 CVEs, but that number seems incredibly huge to me. There's also an exploit for Outlook for Windows that can steal the user's password if they simply click on a malicious link. So, yeah, win for that. Adobe patches 9 vulnerabilities in Adobe Commerce, Magento Open Source, Adobe Experience Manager, Media Encoder, After Effects, Photoshop, and InDesign. There seems to be a constant cycle for Adobe patching really critical vulnerabilities. So yeah, just to run through that, and we've got events as well. I wanted to kind of ask Stevie. Myself and Stevie went to the PowerShell Global Summit. We just came back there. I came back on Saturday, just past. Stevie, I think you got back on Sunday, and yeah, it's all over. It was 4 days. What's your take on the event?
The event itself was awesome. It was a little bit of a different vibe from like a sponsor like attendee point of view. Just it just felt a little bit different than previous conferences. But overall, like the conference itself and the people and all that, really enjoyed it. The sessions that I was able to get to were really well done, really good. All the speakers really take that role very seriously. What when they go there, which is great and how it should be. But the community of people, man, that's why I go. I I love the PowerShell community at the PowerShell Summit. Just a great group of welcoming folks, super fun to hang out with, and yeah, it's a great time. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is my first time going since 2018 or 2019.
2019, I think. Yeah,
Was it 20? I mean, it's been a long
2019.
time. And I did 2 talks there. One of them was it wasn't, I keep saying it's a bit of a disaster. It wasn't.
It
Video
wasn't.
all messed up. You will maybe post the link when it's actually published. If they haven't fixed it, you can see it. But yeah, I think the community, it really was a community feel. It was really good.
Yeah.
And I got to meet Corey, Tyler, and Ryan for the first time as well, which, while they've worked at Chocolatey for a while, I haven't had the opportunity to meet them, so that was great. And John Janelle as well, I want to call him out again. It was really great meeting him. Hopefully he watches this.
Yeah, John's a good
Um,
guy. John's a
but
good
yeah,
guy.
and other people as well. It was great catching up with other people. And so I had a really good time, even though I spent a lot of it in the hotel doing my slides. I still enjoyed part of it, and I fell asleep and didn't manage to get to the last event, but we'll see that quite. Awesome. Okay, so hopefully we'll see what happens next year. But there's also another PowerShell Conference Europe 2024. That is June the 24th to the 27th in Antwerp in Belgium. Myself and James Ruskin will be going along to that. So again, if you're going along to that event or you're thinking about it, you can find all the details on psconf.eu or just search for PowerShell Conference Europe. You'll find that. And stop by the Chocolatey booth. We're doing giveaways, chat with some of the team, myself and James, potentially some of the community members as well, and pick up some swag as well. So that's always good. Free stuff. Who says no? Who can say no? Okay, that's kind of us at the end of time today, and it brings up something that I spoke to Gary and Stevie about, before the live stream today. We're actually looking to extend the length of the live stream because we enjoy talking. As you probably heard. We enjoy talking about these things. We don't often get a lot of opportunity to talk about, technology. We've all been involved in technology for a long time, and we've got views, we've got opinions, and we've got a history and we've got experience there as well, that we want to kind of share with everybody. So we were going to be looking to extend the recording to 45 to 60 minutes, and still including the same content: software news, packaging, software deployment, lifecycle management. We're kind of early days with this podcast and live stream format. It's only our 3rd episode, so we're still finding our feet a little bit with the right format and the length of the content, which kind of brings me on to the link that I'm going to pop up on screen again. Let me see if I can find it. It's obviously you never find it when you look for others. This is the link that will allow you to let us know if this format works, if the length of it works. Bear in mind, we're now been on stream for 45 minutes. So this will probably be the length of the content in future, kind of this to 60 minutes, as I said. So please just let us know. Let us know what you think about it. Let us know that content we're producing is what you want to see. Is it the right format, right length, as I said? Do you have any ideas about other content you'd like to see, just please fill in that survey. As I said earlier on, it takes 10 seconds. The only thing that's mandatory is just to rate the stream, and it's a button, or sorry, a slider to drag, to be able to rate it. And you've got a box to fill out to give us some feedback. That is it. Basically, it'll take you no more than 10 seconds. And it's really, really appreciated. So please complete that for us. We'd very much appreciate it. Also, to ensure that you're notified of all the great content from Chocolatey Software that we're producing, ensure you join our community hub and Discord. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter or X, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Twitch. All the details for that are on our website, chocolatey.org. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see those links there, or in the description of where you found this content as well. Join our next live stream on Twitch or YouTube on Thursday, the 2nd of May, where we'll be going back to basics again. Gary mentioned earlier we went back to basics for the Chocolatey Community, Chocolatey Community Repository. We've done Chocolatey CLI. We've done another one which is totally went out of my head. Stevie, what was the other one? Packages, how to create packages.
Yeah,
That
how
was
to
it.
create packages. Yeah.
Apologies to you and Josh if I just went totally out of my mind. I forgot about that one. So we're doing another back to basics. We're going to take you through self-service and managing packages as a non-admin within your organization. If you've got anybody in your organization, let's say a finance team, that you want to be able to install their own software, but obviously not give them admin rights on the machine, then this is the live stream to join, and we'll talk through how that's going to happen, or how you can do that with Chocolatey products, should I say, sorry. So we hope to see you there. Thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. And everybody take care. Bye-bye.
All right. All right.
Okay.